Next song doesn't come on. How are you, everybody? I checked the speed and suddenly I'm getting red. So I don't know if it's good or bad or ugly. I will be watching the live stream if you see any problems. Also, hit that thumbs up. Um, Give me a thumbs up because I want to try to trigger the YouTube algorithm. I'm going to just go right into it. I don't want to waste a lot of time because of the stupid connection. It was so good a minute ago, right? Is it green? It's yellow, so we have a chance. It always clears up, so if it's a bad connection, just go away for about an hour and come back. I'm going to try to keep this under 30 minutes. Now, if you don't know where we are, we're over here at the Facebook page I've got. Now, I guess I can navigate away from that one, but that's an important one for me. That's the smoking gun that we're talking about. The problem here is that you get all these notifications in the corner and you get distracted. This is my page called Was This Atlantis. Very easy to find. Go to facebook.com/Was This Atlantis. Go down to the photos, see all photos. I think that the special thing about this collection is that you're getting the link for each photo. So you can click on the link and it'll open up Google Earth browser, not Google Earth Pro. Thank your Lord, because you don't want Google Earth Pro, really. It's prohibitive. This is the new format. But what we're looking at here, and what I'm going to do very quickly is look at some photos. They're on. Good. So keep the photos on. When you're looking, this place is called Telebit. Now, if you don't know what I think, I believe some ancient beings were doing some global mining and they had to dump their tailings in some fashion. Sometimes the dumping was just random and let's get rid of it. We're moving, let's dump it. I mean, I'm not claiming I know everything, but sometimes these actual tailings were used to do something. And here you can see several lines in a row. Over here, you can kind of get a glimpse of what you're looking at. The average width of this stuff is about not a tenth of a mile wide like the volcanic dikes that I usually look at. Well, actually, that's 0.01 of a mile, right? What is that? Let's look at the feet. It's only 67 feet wide, so it's not some kind of big impossibility. So this is really, oops, I don't want to do that. I just want to, so what did we say? Not even 100 feet wide, 60 feet wide. We look at our modern day dumps from dump trucks are about 20 feet wide. So this is like 3 times wider. But a dump from a dump truck is just a circle, and it's 20 feet wide. This is 60 feet wide and going in a straight line. It's starting and stopping. You can see these gaps. They're obviously left like that. I wouldn't say that was created by a breach, a water breach, or some erosion. I can say it. You see little circles in there. I think those are modern day. People did a modern day mound, I believe. Maybe you had somebody pass away and they needed to make a quick mound. We see a lot of these mounds that are kind of, by the way, when I say modern day, I'm not saying that's not 1,000 years old. That right there is 25, 30 feet wide. So it's really pretty big. It's not something that I'd want to pile up. And if you're dealing with a family matter and burying a dead body, I've seen people, modern day people, look at that big old building. Look at that structure. That thing's old too. When you see those corner things like that, it's about 100 years old at least, I believe. Telebit. This is in Mali. Yeah, so that's an interesting little fort. I never really looked at that before. But that is some type of a fort. I wish we could see the corner over here is also like a little lookout tower. Those are, if I'm not mistaken, lookout towers. All right. Don't have a lot of people watching. Let's see. 3 thumbs up, 4 people watching. I'm going to go through this. I still have that red. It's really bugging me. But since I don't have anybody chatting or asking questions, let's just go through my Was This Atlantis page real quick. I want to get my new 5,000 subscribers. Thank you, Jimmy. And obviously the digital devices got excited too, and go through the probably not all of this. I want to keep this short. These photos go back. I can usually identify the place by looking at the image, but sometimes I myself have to click on that little link up above. Yeah, we're going back. So I got hundreds of photos on here, and might as well take it all the way to see all of them kind of. And I think we could do a category of stuff. I mean, of course, there's some stuff like these two images; those don't belong anymore. I figured out that mystery. It's mosquito abatement programs did that. Okay, so you get to the beginning right there, and I don't know. Let's start from there. So it seems like over history, and I'm not saying that I know anything. What am I looking here? This is a link on Google.com. Google Earth. Photosphere. So this is an interesting shot. I don't know if it's 360, but anyways, I'm not a big Egypt person. Not like I've never been there. This right here is some type of. It depends. Is that a canal shape or is that a wall shape? And so the question is, it's in the middle of nowhere. This is in the Richat structure. I wanted to go there. I wasn't able to convince anybody to take me out there the way I wanted. You know, this is in Morocco. These are called tumuli. You can see one here, and you can see one eroded away. I want to visit that. I might be able to in the next couple months. This is Wadan. I stayed the night there. My hotel is over there somewhere. Ancient city next to modern day Wadan. I think that so if you look at the north is to the left. So the top, that's an interesting shape right there. When you're walking through here, look how you don't see a lot of black, and the shadows are not there because the rocks have all fallen down. I think it's kind of dangerous. It looks like a war zone in there. I'm not going to bother clicking on this. You can always go and click yourself. One of the meteorites, how do you pronounce that? I had a trouble the other day. I mean, you have a four. That's not a diphthong. That's not a triphthong. There must be two diphthongs. O, u, lo. Okay, I don't know. I'm gonna have to figure it out. This is also the Temichati. I'm gonna have to silence that. At least I should move it away from the microphone. Okay, Temichati crater. That's near the Richat structure, creating the string of pearls effect. But I don't really believe that it was a previous axis at that time. So I'm kind of with the I accept that those craters could be different times. Now this is some stuff I found in the middle of the Sahara Desert, and I'm not going to click on every one, but we can classify this as a wall probably. I don't think it's a canal. If you look at the lines the way they are, you can always zoom in a little bit too. If you look at the lines, another thing I'd like to do is that. You can see these are look like, to nowadays, I would say those are piles of rocks. I could click on that, measure the width to get in there real close, but I'm not really interested in analyzing each photo as much as classifying them. Again, now this one has like a double line. Could these walls have hosted water like an aqueduct? Could these walls have actually also been a canal? Something's going on. I don't think this is modern day. If you click on this is near the Richat structure. It's very similar to the first one I just showed you. I thought it might be the same thing. Now, this is more modern day. I'd say 1870. These structures were created by military fortress builders. But there's a link. You can go check it out for yourself. Just some perpendicular lines. The way it seems like these were like big, huge fields of mud that were allowed to dry differently from what was going on the other side. Maybe rainwater created a playa lake that later, again, that's a French military fortress used for individual soldier training. This is actually near the Richat. It's a fort, and it's in Mauritania. You can click on that. Now, I used to call this the Trident of Poseidon because it really does look like it's a cut through. And if you know me, I believe that they were cutting through here, making canals, and it was kind of like a little trident shape. So I said Trident of Poseidon. But to me, it's very interesting how this cuts through rock from one river to the other and kind of like has this thing going. I don't know if it continued and got covered up. It's a big mystery. But it's one of the canal cut throughs. This is another one that I marked, kind of weird that you can just go right around it. Perhaps it's natural geology. Again, an intersection of canals on the earth somewhere. I don't want to say I know everything about everything, but I grab it, I put it on the site. Hey, Squirrel Sniper, thanks for joining. Great Britain. Awesome. You're my first commenter. Another shot of that same intersection. I'm getting like a red reading, so I'm just going to keep going and keep talking. Now, if you have a question, please ask. Squirrel, you're my only guest so far. How many people do we have here? We have 4 watching now, 12 minutes ago. All right, so I'm going to talk for another 20 minutes. This is, again, a mysterious intersection in the desert, but why is this whole area a different color? If you visit it now, the color has changed. I don't know if that's some type of grass growing. This is down in the Tichit city area down in Mauritania. This is a unique parallel lines I was looking at for a while. I just saved the link. It seems to me like this was some type of a road or parallel lines. There it is again, 250 meters wide. It's not very long, so I kind of forgot about it. There it is again. Just some kind of a weird thing that is going through the desert. Okay, so that it would be the pearl of string of pearls, the Temimichate, the Tenamore crater, and down here is the Oalo crater, and number 1 would be the Sebket El Guelb. Okay, don't think I'm trying to say that the Richat itself is a crater. I'm talking about the little tiny one inside the Richat. And number 5 is the Semisat, what they call the dome. I call it a crater. So I think that these two probably happened at the same time. I think that this one may have happened earlier. This one may have happened at the same time because the age that they've aged it. I think we should re-age these all 3 of these. A reset. Red sands before a reset. Have you heard that before? I've heard of a red. What is that? The magnetic poles when you get to see the what's it called? I'm forgetting the name of the it's on the tip of my tongue. What's that thing that we see out of the airplane at the North Pole? Or the Aurora Borealis. There you go. So the Aurora Borealis sometimes turns red, doesn't it? And I've heard stories of the Aurora Borealis coming down to my neighborhood, like California, Southern California, and turning everything red. I had 2 accounts, but whoops. Well, that's something Jimmy said to me a long time ago. I didn't even know I put that on there. What's this? Atlas Sea, Atlas Mountains, Taman Reset Mega River. Basically, this is the ancient Taman Reset right here, and I'm kind of I got this from somebody else, although I'd made these changes. This whole Atlas Sea, they put that on there. I don't know if I agree with that anymore. Basically, when Plato said it's beyond the Pillars of Hercules. It's beyond the Pillars of Hercules. He's not saying that it's just beyond, like right here. It's outside of the Pillars of Hercules. That's my feeling about this whole thing. Now, how did the water get to the eye of the Sahara? Well, I believe there were canal systems, and I can show you one that's actually right out here. I believe that the corner of the eye has a canal system that served that whole area. So anyways, I don't really want to talk about that. This is very important to me. We are one species. We are star stuff harvesting starlight. Carl Sagan. That's meaningful to me. Just some random map that was in a movie, and I looked at it, and it put basically not quite. This is all fake, but I when I first saw it, I thought, okay, that's interesting. The equator is right there, but what does this go up to? It goes up to Egypt. It's kind of an interesting prime meridian choice, which is probably the ancient prime meridian, because we know that that's the separation point for all the land mass in the world. I think we do. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Just some lines. I believe that's South Africa. What are we looking at here? This was my trip. I can't even believe this is here. This is my trip to Mauritania. Yeah, I landed in Conakry, Guinea. So then went back up. Paris, Conakry. Well, I understand that there must have been some kind of a flood, but I really would like to know where the origin point of that flood was. If it was melting ice sheets, then it should have come across. How does a melting ice sheet get across the Mediterranean? I believe there was a lot of water controlled in the Sahara. Okay, now if you don't know it, that is the place right in the middle there. That's what I believe is the crater that destroyed of the impact that destroyed Atlantis. If you think that the Richat structure should have things that show this ancient civilization better, I would say it was all disintegrated, just like the mountains that are missing. You see that crater instead of that quadrant of mountains. Nobody talks about that. So it's my discovery. This is my old logo, and like I told you earlier, that's now we know very well. That's a military fortification, just piles of rocks creating cubbies or manholes, or what's that word you use in the military? I am a veteran. Forgot. I never had to dig one. I think we had to dig like half of one once. It was kind of more of a little ditch to lie down in. I don't even know. The fact is that sometimes I put stuff in here that I think this is a suspect as opposed to natural because of the way it's cutting through there. I'm responding to Squirrel Sniper. What is the name of that thing that soldiers dig a hole and get in? That's not a manhole. What is that called? You can see the direction of the flow of water that came from the north, sweeping south across the Sahara. It's not melted. It was tsunami. Same time the destruction of the Antarctica, Argentina land bridge. Where's my Google Earth? Yeah, never did finish talking about this. I think I'll open up a separate one and I'll talk about that one more time later. I kind of got off the smoking gun, which is what I think may have brought you here. But this place, Tel Abyad, is in Mali, and when you click on these things and really get a look of what these so-called lines are, you find out that they're just piles of rocks piled on top of the desert floor. Now, I showed that earlier, and then I got off the topic. Foxhole. Dig your foxhole. Yeah, that's right. Okay. It's been a while since I've used any of that word. So tell me, who put these things across Africa and actually literally created, where is it? Tel Abyad has it. Go to Tel Abyad because it's on the map, and you can quickly find these lines here. Squirrel Sniper. I mean, the thing is that there's been, and over here, look at the cross hatching right there. These lines are putting down, they're putting them down, and they're going over each other. I think that you could even, if we could get some really good ones, you could see how this one's obviously going over this one, right? Now we just got to find another one that goes over it so we can prove, okay, right there, boom, boom. Look at that one. This is a great example of what I'm talking about. So you can see that one was last, and the next one was here. And then that one goes on top of that one. Now, come on, Squirrel. Tell me that you still don't believe in giant ancient miners. These are 60 feet wide, and they're going on for how long? You can even see the breaches. The rivers have gone through there. I believe that that's probably a water breach that got. It's just blowing my mind. Okay. So this is the smoking gun that I baited you here with in the thumbnail. And I really should just focus on this. I mean, I think we see, again, evidence that this long mountain... Okay, so here, you can see this one is A and this one is B up above it. But then they change places. Okay? Now, I've seen that in Namibia with what I thought was supposed to be sand dunes going over. And I said, well, why would they go over one another? Because they could, I guess. I mean, that's an interesting one. And you can see the material's a little different. I don't know. You also see lots of erosion and water events. And yeah, if a flood went over this, I think this stuff is millions of years old. I think this is not new. But you're seeing it. I mean, who's doing it? Who did it? Who did it? Did humans do it? And by the way, some of them turned into actual plateaus. When you get in close, you can see the remnants of some of those lines, and you're like, wait a minute, is that one of those same things? Like right here. Is that just a mound somebody put there and it became part of the mountains? It just doesn't make sense to me. Somebody was working on a megalithic scale in this whole area in Mali. Okay, so this is what I thumbnailed. This is the thumbnail. That one's crazy. You see him literally go up and over the other one. And you don't have any photos. Where are the photos at? I had one. There's one photo. I just showed it to you. Let's look at it again. Literally piles of rocks. That's not volcanic where it just appeared. It's not like that just appeared there, right? It had to get there somehow. If you dig, here's the thing. Another thing is dig underneath that and see if it continues. Get that whole pile of rocks moved, then go down and see if you have the regular sand color underneath it. I don't know. Maybe that's about the right size to do that project on. You don't have to move the whole thing. Just cut into it, move away half of it, and compare it. Do your diligence. This needs an archaeologist dig. Maybe that is not the best mountain. I think it's pretty much... hi there, Tassio Trevisor. Thank you and welcome. Thank you, Squirrel Sniper, for agreeing that it's not recent. Tassio or Tassio? I think the accent says Tassio. It's the accent mark over the A. Is it possible to reach those sites? Wouldn't it be interesting to pay a visit? Of course, I want to. This is Mali, though. This is Mali. So when we back out, you can see where that is. There's something similar happening over in Niger. Maybe you could start there. These circular dikes are suspect. I don't want to start clicking on photos because you end up in someone's house. I mean, look how big those rocks are. That's gigantic. That's a different technology than piles of rocks that I showed you over in Mali. But at the same time, I do suspect them. I suspect. This right here, these are very similar, right? You can't call that a volcanic dike. Look at these over here. Look at the ones that are at an angle. That moves like that and then to the angle. There was a couple of them in my page. I'll go back again. Well, like I said, the reason why I started this was to talk about these artificial mountains that have been created, mainly the ones here in Tel Aviv, because I think that's the smoking gun. I can show you stuff like this all over the world, but this is chaotic. But I don't believe this is natural. I think that they were trying to cut off this river for some reason. They were going across the river to create damming of some sort. I believe that river must have existed before those were put there because they wanted to control that river. Who's they? I don't know. Some humans? Maybe. Ancient humans who had big machines. Or giants that had big machines. And then also maybe aliens that had technology we don't understand. Why would they dump it in lines like this? We can take a quick look at some similar ones over here in where the ancient Tamanrasset River would have flowed, right up here. And then you go over that. That's where the Tamanrasset River was. So when you go in here, and there's lots of pictures in this area. It's a different country. Okay, we didn't get any. Usually it's pretty cut and dry that this place was... They were making dumping lines. I'm going to call them dumping lines. Dribble mountains of some sort. Now, I don't find any, so I'm upset. I'm angry. Let's try down here by the border. I think we find them here. I kind of suspect this line. I also... Here's another thing. Now, this line... Okay, this is... I'm spitballing here with something. I've always wondered why there's a shoreline right here. Because I believe that this ancient wall and this stuff could have been the exit point for a lot of water that was here. And a lot of water that was up here. You can see the shorelines. You can see the playa lakes from the ancient beds. All I'm saying is that this sand is probably covering the bed of an ancient sea that was to the north, connecting the Taman-Risset River with this shoreline. Maybe this whole thing was a lake. I do say I usually just ask questions, but in this case, I am speculating. Here, this wall could have been that holding all that in. And over here, I believe this mountain range, I do suspect a couple of ridges here and here that I believe was holding water in. They could have breached and caused a big flood through here. We have a big, huge, long, it's kind of like a canal that attaches to that shoreline. So I do believe that some water went through here. But this shoreline is probably 1,000 feet off the desert floor. So what held in the water? Well, you see this thing right here. It happens to be parallel to this thing. Could this have been like an ancient complex of walls that held not just water, but also maybe even cities? And again, over here, maybe it existed. I was looking at some stuff. If you follow my 50-mile canal through the Adrar, you meet some more little stuff going on here. So I do suspect that there was some water working going on here. The things that I was trying to show you as we get in closer over here now are these dribble mountains. Okay, finally I found some. They're crossing over each other. They're very skinny. I feel like they were heading towards... I mean, why were they transporting stuff, and why were they dribbling this stuff? Now, out here you do see ancient canals. Don't get me wrong. I believe that this is an ancient intersection right here. You've got this canal and this canal intersecting, and it's like, well, what came first? I don't know. I'm not trying to speculate on the actual timeline here. Look at the way this one is shifted. So we're talking old. I think if it was able to have a tectonic shift where the canal disconnected and started back up here, something's weird. I mean, it's old, and a lot of activity. You can follow these canals. The canals seem to be going through the ancient dripping. So which came first? Probably the ancient drips, or somebody's getting rid of material. There's a lot of this stuff going on up there. It's next to the bend in the ancient Taman-Risset River. I did show some of these canals and some of these intersections. I just got lucky with that one, because usually I have to open up my my map, and sometimes you get to the place where they don't look at that. What is that line right there? That looks like a wall. Okay, so a possible airstrip east of the Richat. Yeah, I know a few of them actually. Before I even put in your things, let me see if I already know it. The airstrips east of the Richat. Okay, thank you for your question, Tasio Trevisor. Did I say that correctly? Let me know if I didn't pronounce it. I'll look it up. Squirrel Sniper, I know how to say that. I kind of wonder if you were a real sniper. Let me get rid of everything. Let's go with clean. And yeah, there's a couple of airstrips. I believe one of them is like right around here. Kind of forgot where they put it, but it's like right on the other side. There's a little military base over here. It's kind of more of a mosque / neighborhood community center. And I do think that the airstrip that can get you there, not that, is off the plateau somewhere over here. Okay, now the other one, it could be there's an airstrip right over here next to my canal. And it's right there. That's an airstrip. Is that the strip? Oh, okay. Well, if you're from Brazil, I do know how to pronounce Spanish, and I think I can pronounce Portuguese. Is that it right there? Let's put in your numbers and see if I was close. There's airstrips everywhere. Oh, by the way, I didn't show you, but there's a canal right there. I'll show you. Let me show you first. There's a canal. That airstrip, there's a canal right there going through the plateau. So it's obviously a high plateau where they would put the airstrip. I don't know why they would want to land there and go here. I don't know what they're up to out here. I don't even know. I don't even see any buildings or people. There's probably some people living out there who have been living out there for hundreds of years. Can't prove they own it. Maybe they can. Who knows? Let's find your place. Okay, here it goes. Is that it? It's it. See, I found it. So yeah, I don't know why they have an airstrip out there, and it looks to me like that's a little wall they put up to stop the sand from blowing onto the airstrip. Honestly, I don't know why that's there, but yeah, there's a canal right up here, and I tried to follow that canal quite a distance, but I never had much luck. First of all, why it changes from north to south or changes the orientation, I don't know. And I don't like that new feature that makes me open a new tab to do that. I just want to change it to north real quick. How do I do that? Is there a way to change this to north without dealing with the compass? I think it's stupid, that feature. All right, Tasio, thank you for pointing this out. That canal right there, I believe, helped bring water from the ancient Taman Reset. Look, it's pointing right up there towards it. The ancient Taman Reset would have been like right here. Maybe there's a big body of water, so the shoreline here, this is a shoreline right here. And we have this arch. You can't see it now, but if you go back into the time lapse and look at the older pictures, it's actually kind of better. I'm just pausing it for a moment. Look at that one, nice and clean, and you can see the canal. You can see this curved shoreline. It's a 10-mile arc, and it looks a little out of focus right there. What's going on there? Or is that two shorelines? There's a couple of shorelines, not just one. And then I believe that this went over here. There's like a little remnants of a canal. Check out the video I did there. That's actually pretty good. 1998. That's really nice. Nowadays, you look at it, it's all effed up. What's wrong? Okay, I always wondered if this was an impact strike. This little thing here. It's not very clear here. Maybe in the 2023, it's a little clearer. And I always wondered what these were. Now, in general, they're just playa shores. I'm sorry, I would say a flat. It's a desert flat where water kind of kept it flat, but also turned into a playa lake. This would be a better example of a playa lake that evaporated, leaving all the salt alkaloids behind. And with this one right here, I haven't even looked at that. Let's take a look at 2023. Yeah, so it clears up, and you can see it's a little more clearly a playa bed. But I kind of like to use this time-lapse animation sometimes just to kind of get the scope of the... It's over 40 years, but we got to maybe exit time-lapse and keep going. Now look how crappy it looks. It's like, what the F? Honestly, what the F? That's what they're giving us modern day, and you have to go back into history to get better images. It just doesn't make sense. They're distracting you. They're distracting you. They don't want you to see the canals. This thing goes up in there, and this is pretty much an ancient shoreline. They're distracting you. Come in here, and you get the same issues. Maybe not. Oh, down there. I mean, that's not right. They need to fix that. I'm just tired of it. And when you get really in, and you still can't see what's going on, it's very distracting. All right. Well, I didn't get very far into my... It's still red, number one. And number two, I've met my 30-minute quota. So I'm probably going to get out of here. But I just want to give everybody a chance. Squirrel Sniper, what are you retracting? What are you retracting? Who's the wrench? Is somebody retracting your messages? Any lag? Is it clear? I mean, I just kind of was surprised. Ooh, 15 thumbs up. Last chance for some questions. I mean, when you see stuff like that, I do believe there was some water issues. You see shorelines. I believe that's a shoreline right there more than it is sand erosion. There were some bodies of water up here. They were doing crazy star forts. I don't think I can show you in a moment. I just want to finish my statement. I believe there were a lot of bodies of water up here. That looks like it was an ancient sea. The Taman Reset Lake Maghreb was right here somewhere. They know it was there. They can't really... I can show it in another video where some people think that was the direct result of this Tenamore meteor strike. When the Tenamore crater, which is right about here, happened. It happened about 17,000 years ago. maybe 21,000. They have a range, okay, and I think that the top end was 21,000 and the bottom end was like 9,000. So that thing could have triggered a major flood, right? And there's like I said, I believe that what destroyed Atlantis was this impact strike. Let me talk about star forts because I have a link that you should know about. It's right. Don't look at my other stuff, please. Don't look at my other stuff. I don't have any porn. Let's see. Where is that link? Star fort. Oh, I didn't even have to show you. I'll clip that out later. Yeah, I always make sure that the top strip of because I know that I always show it in my live streams. Okay, so as you can see from the star fort map, there's not very many in this area that are known. Mauritania has this one. Let's go to it. Senegal Fort Podor. That's a star fort along the Senegal River. I think that these star forts had a maritime civilization. And then you look at it, you're like, where is the star fort? Okay, now, in my opinion, that's not even a good one. It's kind of, I can't over... That's the problem with this. You can't turn it into 3D mode and flip it over so you get a better perspective of that thing. But I do see these walls, and I see that buttress, and I say that that's not really the basic, typical star forts. So I'd be curious to know what mainstream history is saying that is. Let's look at another one. I'm not really happy with that. Where is it? Where's the other ones? Luckily, we can zoom out pretty quick. So none others. There's this one. Let's look at this one. Because this is technically on the border of Mauritania. It's in the Senegal side. And see, what you see here is kind of like a half of a star fort. So you see the old corner here and part of that there, but then the wall's been probably cut. And these turrets, I don't know, how come this is so different over here than usually the star forts have sharp corners, not round. Oh, and by the way, are they on the beach? What's going on right there on the riverside? Interesting. I haven't been to Senegal. Maybe look at maybe not here though. This is google.com/maps. I guess it's because people create their own My Map. And by the way, I don't know who created this. I want to give him credit. I said his name a long time ago. Okay, Morocco has some. These are kind of like obvious though, right? Let's look at this one in the mountains. This one is not along a river. And that one has nice sharp points, right? That right there, although it's kind of small, I don't know why they would make points so big, but I mean, because usually the point, in my opinion, represents a guard tower, a defensive tower that could help protect this wall, a lot better. And it's like you almost don't need these things to protect this wall. You could protect it. This is the Borg Nord Museum. See if we get any pictures from there. That's a nice one. I like that picture. Yeah, hard to believe, right? That's in Morocco. That's pretty crazy. Big. Very big. So, it kind of takes my breath away how big that is. There's a dude on the roof. Definitely with, what do you call these? Parapets for... Okay, I don't know what that's all about. A fire. I don't know why they would put that in here. What's this? That looks new. It looks like that's rebar sticking out of it. Anyways, let's just go through these real quick and then get back. Wait, what happened? That's it? Oh, I missed it? I don't know. Anyways, we're out of there. Let's take it. That's a nice one, though. That's incredible. That's a big one. Kind of should look around. Is that a river going right there? That looks more like a freeway. Okay, so that museum looks pretty damn big. I'd like to know about that building and what mainstream says. I don't believe anything they say, so if they say it was built in the 1800s or something like that, I probably wouldn't believe that. I'd have to say that's 1,000 years old. What's going on the roof there? That might be modern changes. Looks like those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, they're all the same. That one looks like, 6. 1, 2, 3, 6. So I don't know what's going on the roof. Let's look at it again. Maybe we can get in there and get better pictures. I think we need to use this one. I thought I saw like 10 pictures, but when I clicked on them, they all disappeared. Let's do it again. Okay. There they are. So those are like ventilation systems. where they put their modern day. It looks like more modern tile on top. So I don't know why that's like that. There's that. Oh, I guess that's not so new after all. I mean, it looked like rebar, something written in Arabic. Maybe if somebody speaks Arabic, tell me what that says. Okay, I don't know what that is. That's just stuff that's around there. Lots of old caves. Interesting. I certainly wouldn't mind hanging around there and checking things out. That's picture number 10. Another thing we could do is probably click on, it says view in Google Maps. That's what we did, didn't we? Watch it open up porn. Okay, yeah, that's Google Maps, but I wanted to open it in Google Earth. So at least we have a little more information on it right now. But I think we can do that afterwards. I don't want to sit here and do that right in front of you. I'm going to finish this off by saying go to my facebook.com. Everything that I find, I put in there. Facebook.com/wasthisatlantis. One word. Everything I find, I put in there. This is something that was shown to me. It's, I think that's Madagascar. It's like some temple rock all carved up. Madagascar's got some stuff. This is a switchback. And if you look at that, and that's a farm, and that's a tree. So this switchback isn't very big, but I call that a switchback. It's like an ancient line, and they stopped, and then they came back up at an angle. And that angle's always looking about the same. I call them switchbacks. Here's probably going to see the switchback. Where is that? Okay, this is a giant switchback, and then there's the other mountain going over it in a weird way. I suspect all that stuff. That's me at the center of the Richat structure. That's what I'm talking about. So star forts seem to have something similar, right? This is not a star fort. This is just a fort, probably French. Kind of how we figured out that the fortifications were probably French forts too. These are my biggest mystery right now. I don't believe those are natural. Tibesti, that's just crazy what happened in Tibesti. And you see these, I'm going to call them volcanic dikes or dikes just for reference, but I don't believe they're volcanic. These things are going, I think that this work was done before this work, but I could be wrong. And so if you don't know what I'm talking about this machining of the land in Tibesti. This is the result right there. Take a look at the short I did. That's back in South Africa. Okay, now I'm getting back into things. I'll probably last another hour, another half hour. But this is Tibesti. I can take you there real quick. We'll talk about that one last time. But if you go to the middle of the Sahara, you can easily see this face, this Peter Max painting. I had one troll. You really think that they were going to copy Peter? What? No, I'm just trying to show you how to find the place. Okay? Look at the nose. Look at the eye. It's a face. There's a chin. And where's all the lips? Go to the bottom of the lips and you see this thing, this work. But look, it's also in the mountains as well. They've totally worked this whole area to control the water, to make the water coming from wherever it's coming from go through all these canals, I think. When you see a perpendicular line coming from the main river, and this main river is so straight, if you say that's just natural, that's natural. Okay, well, let's take a look at something very close by, right over here. Same situation, same stuff. So you're saying they made this grid, this matrix through this pre-existing unnatural looking stone, or did they actually do it all at the same time? Well, the ones that I showed you before are over here. I mean, you see all sorts of stuff going on. And when you see something perpendicular come straight out of a river, don't believe it. But over here, where is it? Way up here, you see something that's probably even older or maybe younger. I'm not sure which came first. The rear stone. See the stonework where they melted and worked and machined it or whatever they did to it. I don't know what they did, but they controlled it. They changed it. And then you've got these lines on top of it, my so-called dikes, or they are poopy mountain. This one's different, though. So this is more of the volcanic dike looking thing. Those are 90 degrees. So which is going across which? And by the way, I believe they're trying to control water with those. So sometimes I think that these mountains are younger than that work right there. So that's Tibesti. And this is along the lips or the mouth of the face. But this whole thing right here, and by the way, I went over here and I found some more of those rocks. So it's not like it was just one side. It was over here somewhere. I put it into was this Atlantis? Yeah, I do believe water. I think that was a body of water. I think this may have been a body of water. There was all sorts of bodies of water. So maybe that was that so-called flood disaster in the Sahara. We had Noah's flood supposedly over here, right? Sinai Peninsula, Sinai Mountain right here. So you've got bodies of water that's going to flow into. It's not going to go across the whole Sahara and come across to here. Unless I do believe this is an ancient shoreline right here. So this was probably a body of water. Okay, so maybe there was a wall, but I used to think that isostatic rebound was the cause of this. However, in this case, now I believe body of water, body of water, body of water. And man-controlled water, too. We're not just talking about... Look at these so-called natural formations. Are they supposed to be sand dunes? Well, why do they look so much like the Kalahari canals, which are down in the middle of Africa, down here? If you don't know about the Kalahari canals, that's 250,000 square miles of straight line structures, and each one's about a mile wide. That's just not a natural thing. They've already said that was some kind of ancient project. Oh, well, obviously not mainstream science, but we do need to get some papers on this stuff. Kalahari canals look very similar. By the way, that's Namibia right there. Namibia has these other ones over here. And I used to think that there was no way those could be natural. I'm sorry, unnatural. But now that I see that stuff happening up in Telebit, I do suspect these so-called sand dunes. I mean, anybody who looks at this is going to say that's a sand dune. That's the sand. That's wind and sand. But I don't think so anymore because of what I've seen in other places. All right, guys. I don't see any more questions. I do still have 16 people watching. I'm going to give you that out that you could leave before I play my weird thing at the end. Or if you want to ask a quick question, you have like another minute. But, oh, by the way, these so-called sand dunes are topped with trees now. And so that implies, because you're not going to grow a tree in sand. You're going to grow a tree in soil. If you're going to have soil, not sand. So this implies that over the years, the rain has hit these and hardened them up and added the nutrients to create a soil for trees. Is that a road? What is going on with this message? Okay, well, that's probably a sign that I should get off. But what happens? What's happening? Okay, and so I used to think, okay, the only thing that could cross over like that is wind. So did the sand get controlled by the wind? Now I feel like from what I saw up there in Telebit, that these crossovers could have been done by the creators that were pouring this stuff out. And that they could have poured out sand. I mean, why would it be so straight? And by the way, this is still wiggly, but when you get up here, it's so straight. It's incredibly straight. I'll have to find that maybe where I was in the video I did, but it was so straight. And it's like, this is just incredible because you don't see that up when you look at what a natural... Okay, let's just be honest. The term dune doesn't mean long, huge, long line. That other one that I showed you up here, let's get rid of this. And thank you so much for those coordinates. I'm always... If you give me coordinates, I'm going to check them. But are you surprised, though, Tasio, that I already found it before I even checked? You said east, and I said there's only one place. Actually, I'm still wondering where. Okay, I was going to show you something, and I forgot what it was. Basically, we have a sand dune, and then we have long lines of sand. Those are created by the natural geology or geography. I kind of think it's geography because it's showing a long... It's both, but the geography. A mountain is geography. I don't say a mountain is geology. So this mountain has certain things that allowed sand to flow through over the years. I do agree that water moves some stuff, but a lot of the stuff we see now, I believe, is from sand blowing across it. In fact, we can go back to take a look at some what I call dunes. Okay, if we go to the time lapse and we allow it to render, let's get in there. I've shown this. I showed this on the Jimmy interview. You can see these dunes moving over 40 years. These dunes are going across a nice smooth plateau. I do believe that has some ancient quarrying that was happening. However, it's not very clear, right? Let's get in there. I thought we were going to get a little clearer. That's a dune, okay? That's a dune. I wouldn't call this a sand dune. I wouldn't say, oh, look, the ancient sea got covered by sand dune. No, I would say that this is literally just pure sand. And I do think that, I don't know, I mean, water pulling all this in here, I believe this was an ancient sea. So maybe it dried out like this. This shows the old bottom of it. Maybe it dried out first like this. But how far underneath that sand does it go? With that in mind, I'm out of here. No questions asked. Thank you so much for joining me today. And I will be happy to answer your questions. Just go down into the comments below. Do you think this is... why is it... Oh, it's locked up. It's locked up. I believe that I don't have a good stream going. What's going on here? Why can't I move it? Okay, well, with that being said, I already talked about this very clearly earlier. This is the smoking gun that I put in the thumbnail. This is in Mali. These mountains are not sand dunes. I believe that stuff I showed you in Namibia could have been some kind of a sand event, but honestly, now seeing these straight lines, Namibia was those were some long lines. How can wind create long lines that long of sand? I just don't see it happening. I don't see how time could have done that. Time's going to mess things up. Time's not going to make things straighter. These aren't straight either. So why is this not working? It's locked. With that in mind, I'm going to lock on out of here. Thank you very much. Have a good day.